case people have missed the class or whatever. So again, this is identified as first distal phalange, first proximal phalange. Okay, now we get to, this is digit number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so this is considered the distal phalange number 5, or distal phalange digit number 5, middle phalange digit number 5, and proximal phalange digit number 5. Okay, so there's 14 of them. So there's 3 phalanges on the 5th digit. There's 3 phalanges on the 4th digit, 3 on the 3rd, 3 on the 2nd, and 2 on the 1st. So on the 1st digit, there's only two bones, like what was mentioned by Dr. Tallis on Tuesday, right? And that is, there's no middle, right? So there's only a distal, there's only a proximal, there's no middle phalange because there's only 2. But then you get to digit number 2, you have a distal, a middle, a proximal, a distal, a middle, a proximal, a distal, a middle, a proximal, and this is digit 4. This would be digit 3, this would be digit 2. So when you identify the bones for the quizzes and the final and all that, you're gonna understand, on the midterm, you're gonna understand that you're gonna have to be able to identify them by whether they're distal, proximal, or middle, and which digit number. So it's gonna be three parts of the labeling you're gonna need to do. You're gonna need to label the bone, which is phalange, which number digit they are, which is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and where in relation on location are they in relation to orientation, proximal, middle, distal. Just understand that distal is furthest away from the core or the center, right? Furthest away from the core or the center. Proximal is closer to the core or the center. So what that means is that my fingertips are more distal compared to my palm, okay? And my palm is more distal compared to my elbow, and my elbow is more distal compared to my shoulder. If I flip it, I would say there's 3, right? There's 2 creases, okay, on a finger, for example, and this is obviously a hand, it's not a foot, but it's very easy to identify because it's the same thing. 14 phalanges on each hand, 14 phalanges on each foot, right? So that's 56 bones right there. You obviously, we didn't cover this, I skipped it, but there's 206 bones total. So you have 206 minus 56, that's only 150 more bones to learn, right? This is all about memorization, right? You memorize it, you know where the bones are, you know what they're called. When it comes down to you identifying fractures and understanding the injuries and where they're at, you need to be able to understand exactly what the bones are called, right? So if I go 3, if I bend my finger, there's 2 creases. There's 1 crease and there's a 2nd crease. These creases are considered the joints, okay? And at each end of the joint are a bone. So this is your distal phalange, middle phalange, proximal phalange of digit number 2, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I do the thumb, there's only, let's see, can't really see it. There's only, let's see if I can do this there. Okay, there's only 1 crease, right? There's 1 crease. Here's your proximal phalange, and here's your distal phalange of digit number 1, right? So understand that the bones of the toes are the same. Digit number 2 has 3, right? So you have, here's your 5, your 4, here's your thumb, right? I'll do it this way. That's digit 1, only 1 crease, only 1 crease, only 2 phalanges. And then here's all digit 2, 3, 4, 5, which actually, in fact, the zoom, I think this stuff with the zoom, it's much easier for you to see it 'cause it's so up close. If you're like in the back of the room, it would be much more difficult for you to see that. I have to have like a camera, a microphone, a magnifying glass, or something that can binoculars to be able to. So it's much easier, right, on the screen. So you can see there's your three phalanges, right? Proximal, middle, distal. Wherever you're at, proximal is also closer to the core. Distal is always furthest away. Okay, just something to think about and to know as we continue to move forward. Okay, so your 14 phalanges, your distal, middle, proximal, and the phalange and the digit number. One is always the thumb or the big toe, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth digit is always the pinky or the pinky toe, right? Okay, so just understand that when it comes down to phalanges. Metatarsals is review 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So first metatarsal is the big toe. It's not the big toe, but it's where the big toe would come from. Your second, third, fourth, and fifth metatarsal.